Hi everyone, my name is Molly Lemond and I'm going to start off with a couple of questions. How many of you all have children? I do too. Now how many of you all love your children? We all do, right? That seems like a strange question, but the number of parents choosing not to vaccinate their children is growing exponentially, and because we all love our tiny sweet babies, that has to change. Today I'm going to inform you all on why we as parents need to be vaccinating our kids. I'm going to talk a little bit about why some parents choose not to vaccinate and how in turn they're actually doing more harm than they are doing good. I'm also going to talk about how vaccines help save our children's lives and the lives of others. And then I'm going to talk about how vaccinating now can help promote and ensure a healthy future for the generations to come. Today, we have more information readily available at our fingertips than ever before. Parents are looking into and doing research about vaccinations before they give them to their children, and they should be, and they're not liking what they're seeing. An article written by the University of Washington School of Law in 2004 and posted on PubMed said it best. Vaccines are becoming a victim of their success. Many individuals have never witnessed the debilitating diseases that vaccines protect against, allowing complacency toward immunization requirements to build. Information on the internet these days is not of the diseases themselves. It is pictures and it's articles of these really serious and potentially dangerous side effects, these negative reactions that kids can have from these vaccines. And they are real and they are scary. And that is a huge reason why parents are choosing not to vaccinate their children. And they think they can do this because the rest of us are vaccinating our children. This is called herd immunity. And the problem with thinking this way is that they think their children are not going to get these dangerous viruses and diseases, but in all reality, they very well could. They could still get them. A perfect example of this is what happened in San Francisco in 2015. In Santa Clara County, they had a rash of small children come down with the measles, just like in this photograph right here. It's a really awful rash that can potentially kill your child. Lauren M. Whaley with the Mercury News wrote an article published to their page on March 6, 2015 that said 12% of the preschoolers and daycare kids in the community were not fully vaccinated by the beginning of the school year. Herd immunity can be a really great thing for those who cannot be vaccinated. But according to the CDC, there needs to be a 95% vaccination rate in order for this to be effective. Our job as parents is to vaccinate our children to keep them safe as well as those that they are around. Vaccines given to infants and young children over the past 2 decades will prevent 322 million illnesses, 21 million hospitalizations, and 732,000 deaths over the course of their lifetimes, according to a new report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. These stats came from an article written by USA Today on April 24, 2014. This just goes to show that vaccines are safe and effective and are helping save our children's lives. I mentioned a little earlier that not everyone can be vaccinated. And a lot of those cases are babies that are just too young for certain vaccines yet. And then there are a lot of children with autoimmune deficiencies, allergies, and cancers that keep them from being able to be vaccinated. Our job as fellow parents is to make sure our children are immunized so they can be around these other kids who are super susceptible to these awful diseases because they literally cannot be vaccinated against them. On April 12, 2017, the History of Vaccines wrote and posted an article to their page stating, from 1964 to 1965, before the development of a vaccine against the disease of rubella, before the disease, a rubella epidemic swept the United States. During that short period, there were 12.5 million cases of rubella. They also wrote that since 2004, rubella has been eliminated from the United States. The first vaccination against rubella was created in 1969. That means in just 35 short years, this virus was wiped out from an entire country. 2 generations ago, my grandfather was born in 1928, and he lost 2 of his older siblings to the rubella virus. So 2 generations ago, this virus was affecting my family. And now, because of continuing vaccinations, it's no longer in our country and only exists in countries who either choose not to vaccinate against it or are too poor to do so. This is a prime example of setting up your families for a future of health and safety against these terrible viruses. We as parents just want what's best for our children. We want to protect them and keep them safe and healthy as best we can, and we can do that by vaccinating against these diseases that are still out there. Vaccinations have come a long way, and they've been proven to be safe and help save the lives of our children. And if we continue to vaccinate against these things, then we'll be sure to enable and promote this healthy environment for our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren to come. Thank you all for your time, and I'd like to open up the floor to any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if rubella has been eliminated from this country, why is it so critical that we immunize our children for that disease?
That is an excellent question. So America is the melting pot, right? We are welcoming everyone from all over the place. Every day we have tons of immigrants coming to our country, and we don't know what they're vaccinated against. Even if their home country suggests that they vaccinate against these same diseases like rubella that we vaccinate against, we don't know for sure that they have been, especially if they're coming undocumented. So it's important that we as parents protect our children from these really awful diseases that could potentially come over with these families who are coming to America. Does that answer your question?
Sure does. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions? All right. Thank you all for your time, and I hope you have a great evening.